May make news. Members of Congress may disagree with Donald Trump, but they could have another candidate, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. He's on Capitol Hill today testifying before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about the pending deal, which he called the only viable option to a peaceful resolution with Iran. Now, how do you convince our allies in the Middle East, like Israel and Saudi Arabia? We join right now with, in a Fox Business exclusive, the former ambassador to Saudi Arabia and author of Desert Diplomat Inside Saudi Arabia Following 9/11, Ambassador Robert Jordan. Ambassador, welcome. You know the Saudis.
Thank you.
You know the Saudis. What do they think of this Iran nuclear deal?
Well, they have been afraid of a grand bargain with Iran for several years now. And this gives some credence to their concerns. They're saying nice things, at least according to Secretary of Defense Carter, who just met with them. He's claiming that they are roughly supportive of the agreement, but he also says that they have some reservations about details. Well, I think these are the same details that Congress is having a problem with as well, namely the intrusiveness of the inspections, the timing, the enforcement mechanism, and the lifting of sanctions. So these are fundamental issues, and I think the Saudis remain very concerned about it, and particularly concerned that Iran may now, as soon as they receive their $150 billion signing bonus, could become a real economic powerhouse in the region.
I need that signing bonus. Man, that's a good one. I think it's the lack of intrusive inspections, that gives them a jump on many days, on inspectors actually hitting the facility and checking things out. But also, I think that some of the issues that the Saudis may have is what Congress is concerned about, these so-called annexes or reported side deals, which nobody's really seen. And everybody's wondering what's in there. Do you have any sense of what could be in these annexes or side deals?
Well, the reporting is that they relate to a military installation at Parchin, which is rumored to have been one of the real nuclear development sites for the Iranians. And then also what the so-called PMD issue, which is possible military dimensions of their past research. This is something that the IAEA had asked 12 questions about quite some time ago, and the Iranians had not responded. It sounds as if this is now their response to the IAEA on those issues, but it certainly raises the question as to what's in those documents that are not being made public.
Well, we should mention, too, fair and balanced, that there are some Iranian hardliners who are also against this deal. So maybe there's some validity, at least in part, to the deal, but it is worrisome. Let's get to the oil portion of all of this. This is an oil-focused economy in Iran. How will it compare? How will it destabilize, if at all, the balance of oil in the Middle East for countries like Saudi Arabia and the other OPEC members?
It's going to have an impact. Let's remember, though, that Iran's oil market has been severely curtailed because of the sanctions.
Right.
And so they've actually developed a pretty strong non-oil economy to balance that out, which the Saudis have not. But as soon as sanctions are lifted, Iran will be able to export almost immediately 400,000 barrels a day. They're rumored to have tens of millions of barrels in storage even as we speak. Within a year or two, they'll be able to ramp up at least another 1 million barrels a day. This will be dumped on a world market that right now has about 2 million barrels a day in excess capacity, excess production. So I think it's going to further have a depressing influence on the price of oil, particularly if demand remains relatively flat.
Yeah, and they won't get as much for their oil, and maybe that'll curtail some of the money that they're bringing in. But either way, it is certainly going to be a lot more supply on the market. Brings it down. U.S. consumers pay less. We're struggling for a silver lining here, Ambassador. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you joining us. Robert Jordan is the former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia.